We are making chain with Tammy Honaman today, and it doesn't have to be your conventional chain. You can make any shape.
And with any wire or metal.
Very cool.
Very
and
cool.
Lots of ideas for things that we can make.
Yes, well, I wanted to inspire you a little bit. And speaking of inspiring, this heart-shaped here is just a piece of wire that was inspired by the bead that I chose to work with that day.
Yeah, so on the necklace, that is a really beautiful way that you brought it all together.
Thank you, thank you. So just simple, two different hearts that are in that piece. One is just a piece of wire. You can form this by hand, but then you do need to give it some structure. So I wove some wire, finer gauge wire, and then just finish the ends so that it can work in your piece however you want it to hang. And then again, this was just formed by hand, and you can make it wonky, you can make it perfect, you can do whatever you want.
Does it matter what gauge wire you're using?
Well, if you're going to use it as a link, I use heavier gauge, 16, 14, 12 is a little hard to do by hand, so you just want to make sure you have tools.
Okay.
But, yeah. Speaking of tools, this link here is made using a jig plier, so you can have different shapes on here and then weave your wire around and around and around, and you get this really nice stack of coils that you can then cut apart into chain links.
Nice.
Right? Super simple. And I'm going to show you another type of chain that you can do, or link similar to that. So I have a piece of copper wire. This is a 16 gauge. The ends were balled with some heat. And then I'm just going to weave that around. And then same thing, weave this guy around.
Well, the great thing about this is you can make both sides of your link the same.
Correct.
I think that would be really challenging to do if you had to take your pliers out, find something to put in there, put them back. This is great.
That's a wonderful, wonderful point. And then you just remove it from the pliers and wrap your wire around.
Cool, so you just coil these pieces around the center and then you get this.
Yep.
Nice.
Super simple. Right?
Really secure, yeah.
And it's secure. It's not an open link. So you can link them all together and you've got a really nice secure chain.
This seems like the kind of project that you should do when you sit down in front of a movie or Beads, Baubles and Jewels and make a million links, and then you have them on hand to connect together later.
Yep. Make your wire, sit down, make your chain.
Right.
Yep.
I love it.
And then this is a really nice, for me, it's a pretty traditional link to make, an S-hook, you know, so you can use it as a finding, but I like to use it as a link. I'm just going to form the end on a mandrel plier, and then again the other direction. So I've got, it's in two different positions, and then I'll use a bigger mandrel plier and rotate away. And then, you know, ergonomically you want to, you know, usually work your tools away from your body, not inward. So I just try to keep that in mind.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. And then it does happen where your links sometimes get a little twisted as you're working. So just...
You can just fix it up. And then you would definitely want to tap this with a hammer.
Correct.
Steel block.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And then again, you start with the same length of wire, use the same tools, and your shapes will be pretty consistent. Or, well, okay, wait, before I go to or make it bigger. And again, use the same tools and you get the same shape. Or go crazy and just have fun making different shapes.
These are really fun.
Little squiggles.
That's really creative, the way that you are using your pliers, I think, you know, to create a whole bunch of different looks. Because look at all of these bracelets here. There are a bunch, and they all have their own thing going on, and it's completely unique to you.
That's correct.
Yep. Nice. Those are really fun. And I love this necklace here because it uses those links that you just showed us. Now, these are really consistent. You're telling me that you didn't cheat on these?
Well, I use the same tool, so yeah, kind of. You know, once you get into a groove and you sit down and you start making your links, you
become a pro.
Well, it's repetition, right? Anything with repetition usually gets to be the same.
Right, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at these freeform necklaces that you made too. Those are really fun.
Thank you. You know, again, inspiration from nature. You know, whatever it is that's around you that you're feeling inspired by, create a shape. You know, so the flowers on the end were really like a zinnia or something from the summer that's full bloom, beautiful. And then I used flat wire for that, which also gives it a little bit of dimension.
Yeah, it has a real architectural look too.
And then there you're just overlapping the ends and using some like wire, almost like a binding to hold it together. So cold connection. And then the butterflies, of course, from nature, and then working in wire and a little bit of the copper shapes to give it some structure and some, some ability to become more than just a pendant. It can actually be a chain.
Yes, these are so fun. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Tammy.